Hello and welcome to sportingways.com. My name's Thomas Rooney and I'm joined by Joe Rooney once again. We're going to be looking ahead to the Premier League's weekend fixtures and the FA Cup final. It's giving a few thoughts on each game, a little look at each team and a prediction each as well. We're going to start with Arsenal versus Norwich, which is the only Premier League fixture on Saturday this weekend. It's a 12:45 kick-off. We'll talk about Arsenal to begin with, and they're only third by a point now, so it's obviously very tight and going to go down to the wire. They've got a clear objective for the last two games. It's 2 wins, 6 points and secure that third position, because as we've said the last couple of weeks, fourth does not guarantee Champions League football. They've dropped points in their last 3, so they really do need to get back to winning ways. And what's been such an up and down season, you kind of think that all the hard work to get ahead of Spurs, to throw that away with a few dodgy results at the end of the season really would be disappointing as far as the Gunners are concerned. So 3 wins and nothing else will do, 3 points and nothing else will do for Arsenal this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, talk about Norwich, mathematically safe, which is a fantastic achievement. I mean, they have stumbled of late in a bit of a poor run of form. They've lost their last 3, and it has been a very long season for them. But Lambert isn't blaming tiredness, or he says it's not an issue for his side. And you just think, have they maybe got one more win in them? And the likes of Spurs, Chelsea, and Newcastle are all going to be cheering Norwich on massively. And
Absolutely.
they'll have a big incentive of what Wigan did there this season.
Absolutely.
So, 3 points are possible. You never know what's going to happen with Norwich. They do churn out that result when no one expects it, definitely. So prediction for this one?
Yeah, prediction, I think, because it's an end of season game, we've got a feeling there's going to be quite a lot of goals. There tends to be sort of towards the end of the campaign. I think Norwich will actually play their part in a really entertaining one, but in the end lose out. So I'm going to go for 3-2 to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are just going to have a bit too much for Norwich in this one. It's a massive game for the Gunners. I think Arsenal 2, Norwich 0.
Okay, next up on Saturday is the FA Cup final. It's Chelsea versus Liverpool at Wembley, a 5:15 kick-off, which a little strange for an FA Cup final, that's the case this year. Talk about Chelsea to begin with, and it's been a fantastic spell in their season, it really has. They've had some massive games and they've come out on top in a lot of them. The positive run did come to an end against Newcastle during the week, because they lost 2-0 at home to Alan Pardew's men, and that's very disappointing in terms of their ambitions to finish in the top 4 this season. They did make a few changes in that game though, so probably did have one eye on this cup final and of course the Champions League final. So they did lose at home to Newcastle, but they've still got 2 major trophies to play for, so a lot still to go for Chelsea this season. And they've been massively successful in the FA Cup over recent years, haven't they? And they've got a lot of players that know how to go to Wembley and win games, and that's kind of what Chelsea do really. They'll be positive ahead of this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool, the only way they can really justify their league position this season is by going on to win the FA Cup, I think. They lost 1-0 to Fulham at Anfield last time out, and that's now 13 games lost all season, which is very poor, if we're honest. And they've actually dropped points in 13 games at Anfield, which, Anfield is considered a bit of a fortress, isn't it, really? I mean, that's just shocking, to be honest. But they won the Carling Cup, so they'll have that experience at Wembley and in the semi-final, of course. But this will be tougher, there's no doubt about it. But Liverpool fans, they are a good set of fans, and they will be backing their side all the way completely. So what do you think in this one? Yeah,
I've got a feeling for Chelsea. I really have. Like I said, the know-how they've got, and I think it could be a similar performance to that against Tottenham in the FA Cup semi-final. And I actually think it's going to be a comfortable win for Chelsea. I think Liverpool are just going to collapse, I think. So I'm going to go for 4-1 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I can also see a Chelsea win, not by quite as big a margin. I've gone for 3-1.
Okay, next up we've got Newcastle at home to Manchester City. It's on Sunday afternoon, 1:30 kick-off, massive game in the Premier League, a really good-looking game in the Premier League this weekend. Talk about Newcastle to begin with, and to be honest, there aren't enough superlatives to describe them at the moment. They've really been fantastic all season, and the last time out they won 2-0 at Chelsea, 2 unbelievable goals from Papi Cisse, who's been fantastic since he arrived in January, one of the best signings of the season, you would say. And with the benefit of hindsight, you can say they've got £25 million plus Cisse, who was brought for $10 million for the value of Andy Carroll, which, benefit of hindsight, that's kind of a ridiculous deal really. So fantastic transfer business from Alan Pardew, and it's paying off. They're now level on points with Tottenham, 1 point behind Arsenal. They've got 2 tough games to come, because they've got Everton away to finish the season after this one. But who would rule out them getting 6 points and clinching third position? I certainly wouldn't, I don't think, because they've had such an incredible season.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester City, massive night for them on Monday night, wasn't it? Beating Manchester United in what was a famous night actually in Manchester, wasn't it? But again, now that game's gone, this is the biggest game of the season. They've got to win this, definitely. I mean, win this and surely it is the title's theirs, but it's going to be a very tough test against, like you said, a very good Newcastle side.
Absolutely.
And it's now a big test of their players' sort of credentials and how they deal with pressure. Yeah, you know, it's just such a massive game for both sides, a really good looking game. So, prediction for this one?
Prediction, I think, I've got a feeling that Manchester City will come out on top in this one. I've just got to think, it doesn't, obviously it means a lot to both of them, but maybe a little bit more to Man City, not that gives them the right to win, but I've just got a feeling about at the moment they were destructive against Manchester United, and I think they'll go to here and get the points. So I'm going for Newcastle 1, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, I've actually gone for a different result in this one. I think it is going to be a great game, like you say, but I think Newcastle are going to get the point here, and it's going to be Newcastle 2, Man City 2.
Okay, next up we've got Aston Villa at home to Tottenham. It's a 2 p.m. kick-off on Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. Talk about Villa to begin with, and going into this one they're 3 points clear of the relegation zone, so very much in the battle for survival at the moment. They win this though and they probably are virtually safe regardless of the results from the other teams sort of below them, because their goal difference is slightly better. They haven't won since the 10th of March though, so to say they're going to win this weekend would be, you know, a bold prediction. And the confidence is just so incredibly low. They've had injuries, they've got Darren Bent out, and obviously the fans aren't particularly behind McLeish or the board really at the moment. So not good times at Aston Villa, but they just need to get through these last 2 games somehow, stay in the Premier League, probably change their manager and their approach to things, and look to go again next season.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham, they look back in form at the moment, don't they? I mean, they've won the last 2 games out against Blackburn and Bolton. Look back to their attack and best for the likes of Bale, Lennon, Adebayor, Van der Vaart. All seem to be firing all cylinders at the moment actually, and they're just now a point behind Arsenal, which given the dip in form they have really shows just how far ahead they were before that run of form. So they're kind of kicking themselves a little bit, but they're now looking at that 3rd place like they can get it. It's a must win for them, and now they know with Hodgson at England that Redknapp's there for the long term, so he's going to be looking to build a title winning side at Spurs, definitely.
Absolutely.
So what are you going for in this one, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. As I say, I think Villa, it's just such a big occasion for Villa because it's obviously their last home game of the season, and I think they'll probably get a point because of that, just because their home fans are going to have to get behind them in such a big game, and I think it'll be 2-2 in the end.
Yeah, I think Tottenham are just coming into form just at the right stage of the season, and Villa aren't in any sort of form as we know, so I've gone for Aston Villa 0, Tottenham 2.
Next up, we've got Bolton versus West Brom. It's another 2 p.m. kick-off on Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. Talk about Bolton to begin with, and one of the biggest stories during the week was that Fabrice Muamba was at the Reebok Stadium for the game against Tottenham. That was great to see him fit and healthy again, and he got a fantastic ovation from the fans. So it was a very emotional night at Bolton. But on the pitch, they did lose quite comfortably to Tottenham. Tottenham, who were sort of on form on the night. Bolton have now got 2 games left. They're in the bottom 3 on goal difference, so as we've said for several weeks now, it's going to go to the final day. But it's going to that final day with, you know, we're in a decent position. They really need to win this one. It's their last home game. They're away on the final day, and you know, last home game of the season. The fans need to get behind them massively, and they need 3 points and nothing less. Yeah,
I mean, West Brom, I mean, Hodgson's on his way to England, isn't he, with the club's blessing in the end, which I thought they dealt with that quite well actually, West Brom. But he's still in charge, and he won't want his, you know, just the side to peter out for the last 2 games. He'll want a good send-off. I mean, they're 10th in the league, not an awful lot to say about them. It's been a fantastic season, but they'll want to stay there. I mean, a top half finish would be massive for a team like West Brom.
Absolutely.
So what are you going for in this one, Tom?
Yeah, I think, as we said there, with West Brom, the Hodgson situation have had a bit of a funny old week, maybe been a bit distracted, and because it's such a massive game for Bolton, I think I really like Owen Coyle as a manager, and I think he'll get his players up for this one, and they will win the game. So I'm going for Bolton 1, West Brom 0.
Yeah, I think West Brom, I think they will. I think they get on with the players get on with Hodgson. I think they want to have a good send off, like I said. I think it's going to be Bolton 1, West Brom 1.
Next up, we've got Fulham versus Sunderland, another 2 p.m. kick-off on Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. Talk about Fulham to begin with. A fantastic result for them at Anfield last time out. Obviously, Liverpool have been very poor at Anfield this season, but it doesn't take anything away from Martin Jol's men. A 1-0 victory. They're now level on points with the Reds as well, so that sort of shows how good a season Fulham have had, or how poor a season Liverpool have had, whichever way you want to look at it. They would go above Liverpool with a win in this game as well, because Liverpool are in FA Cup action. And if they could finish 8th, which is very possible in those last couple of games, that would just be a really good season for Fulham, because they've had some up and down moments, but it's kind of a transitional time. But you know, 8th would be a fantastic position, and one they would definitely settle for. They're unbeaten in 3 games at home, and they do tend to really enjoy playing at Craven Cottage at the moment, and Sunderland won't relish the trip here, I don't think.
No, and Sunderland, they've drawn 5 of their last 6 actually, so they've stumbled a bit of late. Haven't actually won since the 24th of March, which is quite a long time since the run they did go on. It sort of has petered out their season a little bit. Now 11th in the table, but they are only 4 points from 8, so you know, a win here brings them right back into it, if you like. Could be a very exciting summer at Sunderland, with it being O'Neill's first summer. You know, he's going to bring his own crop of players in, if you will, so might want to look out for a few Aston Villa players maybe. He might be pinching a few of theirs. Yeah, well, maybe not. So what are you going for in this one?
Yeah, prediction wise, I think, to be honest, it's got one result written all over it in my opinion, and that's 0-0, and that's all I'll say.
I can only echo that. I think it's just got 0-0 written all over it, like you say. Yeah.
Okay, next up on Sunday afternoon, it's Queen's Park Rangers at home to Stoke City in the Premier League. Talk about QPR to begin with, and obviously last time out in the Premier League they were absolutely hammered at Chelsea, 6-1 the result. They were outclassed on the day, and very poor performance from Mark Hughes and his team. They got away a bit slightly though with Bolton losing against Tottenham during the week, which was Bolton's game in hand. Now out of the bottom 3 on goal difference with 2 games to go. But this is their last home game of the season against the Stoke side. They haven't got much to play for, and this really is a must-win. Because if got Manchester City away on the last day, so if they lose this or maybe even draw this, they can maybe kiss goodbye to the Premier League. But so it's a massive game for Queen's Park Rangers. They will be boosted by the fact that they've won their last 4 at home though. So at Loftus Road right now, they're a complete contrast to what they are away from home, and they can be positive going into this home game.
Yeah, I mean Stoke, 2 solid draws in their last 2 games for them, so it's kind of damage control now after such a long season. You know, which started in July with the Europa League, didn't it? They would quite enjoy damaging QPR survival hopes. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Finish at home to Bolton too, so we seem to keep saying it, but it's yet another side that are aiming for that top 10 finish. And again, after competing in the Europa League for so long this season, if Tony Pulis can get his side in the top half, it just proves what a fantastic job he's doing there.
Absolutely.
So what are you going for in this one, Tom?
Yeah, I've got a feeling, I said earlier about sort of the end of the season tends to bring quite a lot of goals, and I think there'll be the case in this one. I think it's going to be an entertaining draw, which probably won't be enough for QPR, but in the end I think Stoke will, Stoke are a good side, so I'm going to go for 3-3 in this one.
Yeah, I think QPR, they're just looking good at home at the minute. Like I say, winning their last 4, included Liverpool and Arsenal, I believe, so I actually think it's going to be QPR 2, Stoke 1.
Okay, next up we've got Wolves at home to Everton. It's another 2 p.m. kick-off on a busy Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. Talk about Wolves to begin with, but to be honest, what more can you say about Wolves at the moment? I mean, they're relegated, they have been for a couple of weeks now. They've been on a horrific run, they just don't win games anymore. The fans are pretty miserable, and it's just a rough time. They just want the season to end now. And it's a good draw at Swansea last time out. Sort of not many teams have got much from the Liberty Stadium this season, and Wolves scored 4 good goals, but how frustrating is that your team's gone down and then they suddenly decide to score 4 goals on the road and get a decent point? That's just, for the players to be celebrating, you just kind of think it's all a very funny time at Wolves right now, and like I say, they just want the season to end. But having said that, a positive win in this one might maybe boost them for the summer, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Everton, 7th position at the moment and 3 points clear of Liverpool, so they can obviously move 6 points clear of them with Liverpool playing in the FA Cup this weekend. Unbeaten in 7 games now, so they're on a fantastic run again. And just a quick word on Jelavic. I mean, if it wasn't for Papi Cisse, I think he'd be the best January signing by a mile. I mean, he's kind of been in the shadow of Cisse in terms of sort of new players coming into the Premier League, but he's just been what Everton have been crying out for. I think just a natural goal scorer. Just, fantastic. This one, predictions, Tom? Yeah,
as I said, I think Wolves are going to implode once again, to be honest. I think it's going to be 4-1 to Everton.
Yeah, I think Everton are going to win this one comfortably. I've gone Wolves 0, Everton 3.
Okay, next up we've got the Super Sunday fixture, 4 p.m. kick-off between Manchester United and Swansea. Talk about Manchester United to begin with, and hugely disappointing at Manchester City on Monday evening. Not just the result, obviously losing 1-0, but the performance was kind of abject for them really. Not enough going forward. They had enough of the ball at times, but they didn't get a shot on target, I don't think so. And it's kind of been really against the grain their form recently, because end of the season you normally think Manchester United come alive, but that just hasn't happened, and if anything their form's just dipped dramatically, which is really disappointing in the title running. They now need to win this game and win it well. They still need to think about goal difference, because if they win this one 5 or 6-0, which teams have done this season, that puts them in a better position in terms of goal difference with City. But they've got no real complaints if City go on to win the title, I don't think, because United have just thrown it away, and they only have themselves to blame. But 3 points and a big win would be a big boost for Ferguson and his team this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Swansea, this is one of the biggest games of the season for them. I mean, not for the points, they're mathematically safe. They've got another season in the Premier League, but for any side, especially Swansea, it's their first season in the Premier League. Going to Old Trafford is a massive occasion for any team, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll look to make the most of Man United's nerves, I think, definitely, especially in sort of the first 20 minutes. They've actually only won once since beating Man City on the 11th of March, so they have had a little dip in form, but obviously they're still mathematically safe, had a fantastic season. But yeah, want to finish the season strongly, and we'll look that teams have gone to Old Trafford and got points this season, so they'll go there full of confidence and they'll definitely play their football. So we're going for this one.
I think United will get the points in the end, but I think it's going to be a really nervous afternoon at Old Trafford. I've got a feeling that Swansea will really push it. I don't know if it's the sort of team you want to play when you're nervous, because they'll pass it around, they will get through you, I think. So I'm actually going to go for 2-1 win to Manchester United, but I think it'll be a very difficult afternoon for them.
Yeah, I think United are going to win it. I don't actually think they're going to play well at all, but I think it might be a classic don't play well and just churn out a result, and I think it'll actually be Manchester United 3, Swansea 1 in the end.
Okay, the final game to look at is a Monday night football fixture between Blackburn and Wigan. Massive game towards the bottom of the Premier League. We'll talk about Blackburn to begin with, and this game is win or bust for them without doubt. You know, they've got Chelsea away on the last day. They're 3 points clear with 2 games to go. 3 points adrift, sorry, with 2 games to go. They wish they were 3 points clear. And they were really incredibly poor at Tottenham last time out. And for the time of the season where you should be fighting for everything, they just showed absolutely nothing. Didn't have a shot even off target, I don't think. That was one of the first times in a long time in the top flight in England. And there's going to be some protests before the game, regardless of what's going on the pitch. But just imagine the scenes afterwards. If Blackburn do drop points, which they very possibly could, and then condemn themselves to relegation, the scenes will be very ugly at Ewood Park. So the pressure is on big time. Yeah,
I mean, Wigan, they actually smashed Newcastle, didn't they? Continue to impress. They have just been so good. I mean, they beat Newcastle, Arsenal and Manchester United all in April, and they didn't just, none of them were sort of fluky wins or, they backs against the wall. They passed these teams off the pitch and absolutely outplayed them. I mean, people would have been looking at that run for Wigan and thinking, well, hang on, they're pretty doomed here. But like I say, they're 3 points clear now, and a win would put them in pole position. Surely it'd be, and you'd think that it'll be another season in the Premier League, definitely. So we're going for this one.
Yeah, I think, as I say, pressure's on big time for Blackburn. I think they will drop points, which, depending on other results, could mean they're relegated on Monday evening. But I'm going to go for Blackburn 1, Wigan 1.
Yeah, I've gone for a draw on this one, just slightly more goals. I've gone Blackburn 2, Wigan 2.